Hello wrestling fans, in this video we're going to be ranking every single model of CM Punk in WWE games. Each model of Punk will be ranked into one of 5 tiers, those being Best in the World, which is the best of the best, Good, Indifferent, Bad, and CM Flunk, which means it's the worst. For the purpose of this video, our ranking will mainly be focused on the head and face of each model, as those are the most important parts, but we'll also take into consideration the body and attire, for attention to detail. We're going to go through each model in order of Punk's appearance in a WWE game, so let's start with SmackDown vs Raw 2008. So here is Punk in SVR 2008, and the head and face is okay. What throws the face off a little bit though is the mouth. He tends to have a bit of a trout pout and the mouth just seems too wide. The rest of the facial features all look pretty good, both hair and facial hair have good textures. Looking at the body, it's slightly over-defined. If we look at CM Punk around this time period, his body shape wasn't quite this muscular. I also think the skin tone could be slightly more tanned, but these are just minor things that won't impact my ranking too much, as you will see this tends to be the overall style for the entire SVR series. As for the attire, it's also very good, and that's likely going to be my take for all the models we rank, as Punk never really switched up his attire that much in WWE games. So for SVR 2008, there are some good aspects, but the mouth tends to throw the model off. Therefore I'm going to rank this one as indifferent. SVR 2009. For SVR 2009, it holds many similarities to SVR 2008, but there is one major improvement, and that's Punk's mouth. It seems THQ and Yuke's have fixed the issue of Punk's mouth being too wide. The hair and beard of this model also look very good, with the beard being a little more fuller, and the hair has more of a shine, which makes it look more natural. The body is pretty much the same as SVR 2008. Again, at this stage the attire is pretty basic, but the straight edge hardcore t-shirt is a nice touch. The updates which have been made do make this model better, so I'm going to rank SVR 2009 as good. SVR 2010. A slightly more rugged look for CM Punk in SVR 2010, and we're starting to see gradual updates to the model each year, taking small steps to make Punk look better. The face in my opinion looks great. The eyes, eyebrows, nose, mouth and facial hair have all been tweaked and have improved this model of Punk. As for the body, there's not much to say, it's the same as before. But the main focus is the improvements to the face, because it has captured the look of CM Punk entirely. So with those strong improvements, I'm going to bump SVR 2010 to Best in the World. SVR 2011. A very rugged CM Punk for SVR 2011, and graphically it looks like something has changed, as this model doesn't follow the gradual improvements of the past 3 games. Of course, Punk looked very different at this time with his straight edge society, but I also feel that THQ and Yuke's have redesigned the base model of Punk a fair bit. The face under the hair and facial hair looks really good. It's better than both SVR 2008 and 2009. It's also different from SVR 2010, but that's not a bad thing, as it still captures Punk's likeness. My issue with this model is the hair. The new beard looks pretty good and is textured to the face, but the hair seems to be plonked on. The colour isn't quite right either. His hair was more black than brown, and it lacks texture and shine, which we've seen in previous games. What's interesting about this model is the body type has been improved. I actually think it's the most accurate body type we've seen so far, with the addition of chest hair, but in general, it just looks more like Punk. The attire of the model is also a great choice. The yellow trunks and boots make the overall model pop, and the SES entrance attire looks good on Punk as well. It's also worth noting in SVR 2011 we had a secondary attire for CM Punk, wearing his straight edge mask. This attire is just as accurate as the first model, if not better, as the mask covers my only flaw with the model, and that was the hair. In my opinion, this model is very good. It has lots of little details which make it stand out, but the hair, it's a down point. So I'm going to rank SVR 2011 just as good. On to WWE All Stars. Here we have a very different type of CM Punk with WWE All-Stars, with the game having its over-the-top look, but I think it works for CM Punk. With some other models we've ranked, I've mentioned that they've lacked certain standout features to make this style resemble the superstar. With CM Punk, it's not a problem. You can clearly see this is CM Punk, from the tattoos, hair, beard, piercings and attire. The face is also accurate, but it could be a little bit better. From some angles it doesn't look as good, but it's not something to fault. In all honesty, this is just a very solid model of CM Punk for this type of game. So WWE All-Stars is going in good. WWE 12. Coming back to a more accurate attempt of CM Punk with WWE 12, Punk now has updated tattoos, shorter hair and a different beard. If you compare this model to SVR 2011, I think the face has changed significantly and it seems a bit of a step backwards. This doesn't mean that the face is bad, I just don't think it's as good as the last model. The new hair and beard complement the model pretty well, and the new tattoo does look good, but it tends to be a style with WWE 12 that everything looks darker than it needs to be. The body type also looks good and builds on SVR 2011's more accurate look, but the trunks of the attire are overly shiny, and I'm not sure why. My major issue with WWE 12's model of Punk is everything is too much, nothing is really subtle. It does look like CM Punk, but I'm just not a fan of this model, so I'm going to rank this one as indifferent. WWE 13. WWE 13 corrects the major problem with WWE 12, feeling like it's too much. This model of Punk looks more natural, and the model's been toned down, and it makes everything look more real. I tend to think this is the same face as WWE 12, but the adjustments just make the model look better. A good example of this is around Punk's eyes. In WWE 12 it looked like he was wearing mascara, in WWE 13 he isn't anymore. The hair and beard look better as well, as they complement the face nicely. On the previous model we noted the new chest tattoo, and although it looked good, you can see here it looks much better. The colours aren't as dark and blends more into the skin tone. The attire also looks more accurate, a bit of a shine, but not overkill, and the entrance t-shirt is an iconic Punk design, which really defines this era of Punk. WWE 13 also had a couple of different attires with some subtle changes, including the very cool ice cream bar t-shirt. Overall, a big improvement on WWE 12, which means this model gets ranked as good. WWE 2K14. 2K14 came with something pretty similar to what we just saw in 13, the face isn't much different at all. The model overall has been darkened up a bit, sort of a middle ground between 12 and 13, but I think it works rather well. The major difference of this model to the previous is the haircut, Punk sporting a much shorter hairstyle, and WWE 2K14 has got it right. There isn't much else to say about this model of Punk apart from the very interesting buggy entrance, so I'm going to rank this one the same as 13 and put 2K14 in good. WWE 2K15. WWE 2K15 was the final game Punk appeared in for WWE, and there are two models of CM Punk, the 2011 to 2012 model and the 2012 to 2013 model. 2K15 also featured a ton of attires for Punk as part of the showcase. The major difference between the two models is the hairstyle and attires, but everything else we can rank as one. The face in my opinion is spot on. It certainly looks like Punk and is probably the best face since SVR 2010. The body is also the best body in the entire WWE game series. Unlike SVR 2010 where the face was great and the body worked, although wasn't completely lifelike, everything about 2K15's model is accurate and I don't have anything to fault. As part of this video, this is the only model being ranked on what was at the time next gen consoles, so you'd expect it to be one of the best models, and it didn't disappoint, so 2K15 joins SVR 2010 as best in the world. So there you have it, that was every model of CM Punk in WWE games ranked. Out of 9 models we had 2 as best in the world, 5 5 ranked as good, and 2 ended up in indifferent. Remarkably, we had 0 end up in the bottom 2 tiers. If you enjoyed this ranking, make sure you drop a like on the video and let us know how you'd rank these models of Punk in the comments below. But for now, thanks for watching.